Baruch Hashem, Rabbeinu is doing open heart surgery on us. He's helping us get out of tzara, getting out of pain, getting out of challenge. And I think one of the most important points about learning the Likutei Moharan is seeing the words of the tzaddik in the way of this is like a prescription, and it's like you're going to see a wise roife, a roife mumche, a great healer of the soul. And every single Torah has its own prescription inside of it. And therefore, when you go deep into the Torah, which as we were learning before in the Chai Klalim, that one of the principles of learning the Likutei Moharan is you should go deep into it and live in that world, as we're doing. Once you're in that world and you're going through something, you're going through a tzara, something challenging, so then you seek the advice, you find that the prescription is found inside the Torah. You start going through the pathways of the Torah and you find the antidote. And you find what you're looking for. So to start looking at the Torahs in that way, whatever I'm going through, and here we're talking about a tzara, and how do I get out of the tzara? The tzara is coming. We're going to learn more about this technology today, that's how to get out of the tzara. But we saw that when the tzara happens, it's the dam is being shoitfin al alev. The dam is going and putting pressure on the heart. And that makes it the heart starts with defikus gedolos, a strong beating. As we know, when a person goes through a tzar, the heartbeat increases. And then we said, kisheyotzin me'atzara, when you come out of the tzar, you bring a toida. When a person comes out of the tzar, they come to Beis HaMikdash, they bring a toida. But does the toida happen after the tzar? It seems like it from this, at least this shtickle, that once you come out of the tzara, you bring a toida. But did the toida bring me out of the tzar? Or it's something that I give after the tzar? It's the eitz of the leiv, we said. Somehow the leiv gives an eitzah. I go to the chacham, he gives me the eitzah, and then after the blood goes back to the regular taluchos, the regular operating procedure, oh, thank you, then I give a toida. But how do I get out of the tsar itself? Is the toida coming after the tsar? Seemingly that's what it is. Right? Chavush, Yam, Yisurim, Midbar, when you come out of the Tsar, do you say Hagoyim while you're still in mid-flight? Hagoyim, everyone, Rabbi said, minion on the plane, Hagoyim elachayom, Toivos, Shigamalani called Toiv. Oh, we didn't land yet. You bring it after the Tsar is finished, right? So how do I get out of the Tsar though? What's the eitz of the leiv? Furthermore, we added another layer to this, which we said yesterday, that the leiv itself goes through a challenge that sometimes seems like it's too much. And therefore we need the reya. We started with the reya yesterday. So we said that the reya comes to cool down the heart. Let's see that. Let's go back to the reya for a little bit. Because Ramoti got me into the reya. When we sat down to learn, so he said, where are you guys holding? So I said, where are you holding? He's like, I'm in the reya. So well, I could go somewhere else, but like, you'd be taking me out of it, out of the reya. Like, it's like you have to start everything over again. I'm in the reya right now. I said, okay, let's go to the reya. Let's go to the reya. So he pulled me into the reya. The reya in the English edition, it's Tinyana Beis, the second book, Beis, and then right towards the end of the Torah, K'shehalev b'tzara gam hareya b'tzara. When the heart is in pain, also the lungs are in pain. Which that itself is interesting. Because yesterday we started to build up that the lungs are helping the heart to get out of pain. Could you have lungs in pain but not the... Could you have the heart in pain but not the lungs? So we were speaking about that yesterday. I think Eitan was bringing up that you could have a basic level of pain that the heart could deal with. But then, meaning the heart could deal with. Then there's a higher level that the lungs could deal with. But then there's a place where the heart is the ficus gedoilus that even the lungs can't deal with. And we said even if there would be such a metzias of Hashem creating a human being without a heart, still the tenuas haguf, just regular halach yelech of a mensch moving through this world, that itself would warm him up. And we always need the lungs. The lungs are the cooling mechanism. Yeah, Charlie.
What would be an example of someone that the lungs can't handle? That'd be like a very bad anxiety attack, or...
I think anything where the heart goes into such defikas gedolos, I think even, first start with a physiological example, like that. But even not so extreme. Someone's just like, he's running, he's doing a 100 meter sprint, 100 yards from America. And his heart is beating, and he's trying to, and then he goes like to hyperventilation, like can you slow? I can't slow down my breathing. I can't slow it down. So the lungs themselves are, or let's say an anxiety attack, like the person, he can't even slow down the breathing. So the lungs themselves need an eitzah. The lungs need help from something above the lungs. And we started yesterday thinking, what's the difference between the eitzah of the heart and the eitzah of the lungs and the eitzah that would come from above the lungs? We're still trying to understand also what the eitzah is. We know there's an eitzah. There's some eitzah. Because the mashal that Rebbi brought is that when there's a tzara, you go to the Chacham, and the Chacham tells you how to deal with things. So when you leave the Chacham, oftentimes you just feel like I have direction. You went to the Rosh Yeshiva, you gave him 50,000 problems, and you walked out like, I have a mahalach. I'm like calmer now. I was speaking to the Lelever Rebbe last night, because there's something that we're going through right now, and I just told him, I just need to talk to the Rebbe. I just needed to speak to the Rebbe. And I can't believe I was on for 6 minutes. I looked at my phone, 6 minutes. I'm like, how did the Rebbe have time? 6 minutes? For a schlepper? Like, that's amazing. And it's Reb David Lelever's yurtzeit right now. David Lelever's yurtzeit, mamish, right now, Zayin Shvat. Who's the biggest oy of Yisrael? Just loves the Yidden. And fascinating, the Rebbe just said all of a sudden a story. He's like, the David Lelever, he was in a certain place, and there was a couple of Yidden there, and like he saw that there was a couple other Chevra there. We'll call them Igor and Ivan. And Igor says to Ivan, like, Ivan, do you love me? And Ivan's like, Igor, of course I love you, bro. Most love you. Love you. And then I said, no. Like, Ivan, like be'emes, like, you love me? Igor, like, I'm your best friend for like 30 years. Of course I love you. What do you say? No, still love you. To our love. And then like a few minutes later, it's like, Igor, no, be'emes. I'm really asking, do you love? Why do you talk this way? Igor, of course I love you. I'll do anything for you. Say, you don't love me. Because if you love me, you would feel how much pain I'm in right now. And you have no idea. You have no idea. And David Lelever said, I mamish saw that this is what it means to love, is that you could feel the pain of somebody else and help bring them out of that pain. And his whole life is just helping Yidden come out of pain, helping a human being come out of his pain. David Lelever, today. So after I just spoke to the Rebbe, I felt like and he felt something, and he told me also another vort from the Shalom Chevera that just I needed to hear, and like I was struggling with this. Something was on my mind. I was talking to Hashem a lot about this inyan, and then he said the vort of the Shalom Chevera about this inyan, and I just felt. I hung up the phone. My wife's like, "What did the Rebbe say?" And I said something. She was like, "Done." It was like it carved out a certain clarity, an eitzah from the Chacham. But then what's above that? What's the lungs? Now it's interesting, Rabbi says Chacham, he doesn't say tzaddik. He says Chacham.
What's the difference?
Nachman talks about the Chacham and the Tam. That the Chacham is the Chacham and the Tam is the Tam. Anybody ever read the story of the Chacham and the Tam? Yeah? A very deep story. It's a very deep story. The Chacham and the Tam. That the Tam is very, very high. It says Yaakov Ish Tam. Yaakov is called Tam. It's called the perfect one, the simple one. So there has to be something that the Chacham can't do, because the Chacham, so to speak, overheats. Now, if you look at the system from the lave to the dam, so the lave is like the final word. We said that was the Achtas HaPoshet. But we said the dam to the lave, if the lave is also struggling, we need something higher, the lungs. So the lungs become the Achtas HaPoshet, and even the lave and the dam is the Pu'ulus Mishtanas. But what do we do when we have the dam and the lave, and even the lungs are struggling? So look inside at the end of the shtickle. Also the lungs are in pain. All of a sudden the reya became the kiyam aguf. Forget about the heart. That's a strong line. What's with the reya? The whole Torah, I don't know anything about the lungs. Now I'm holding about the lungs. Now, we all know that Rebbi Nachman, after he got a lung disease of tuberculosis, every Torah was about the lungs. They say maybe no tzaddik spoke about the lungs more than Rebbi Nachman. Everything was about what the lungs are all about. And he brings in Sichas Aran that this was when he came to Lemberg. He started speaking about the lungs. And this whole Torah, the fact that he made it safely from Lemberg to Breslov, the doctors were not so happy about this journey. When he made it safely to Breslov, this Torah was his korban toida to Hashem. When he came out of the tzara, that pain of the journey, he said this Torah was his korban toida. And he said, my lungs would have been healed. But the ones who were listening didn't believe enough in the power of the Torah to heal the lungs. In a certain way, what do you see from this? You can go to a tzaddik, and to the degree that you believe in the words of the tzaddik, it's poil. It's a very deep thing. That's why I think in a certain way by Sfardim, there's always nisim happening. Because they believe so much in the words of the Chacham, of the Emet, that when people go to the Baba Sali, and Baba Sali would say, there was such a clear belief, and this is, a Baal Moifis, that people saw nisim mamish. But there's something about believing like links you in to the koyach of it. And in a certain way links even the mashpia, even the tzaddik. And this is just happening in my mind right now, that in a certain way, so one direction it's from the tzaddik to the yid. It's from the tzaddik to the mensch. So to the degree that I believe in the words of the tzaddik, so the mensch receives the shefa. But in a certain way, to the degree that the mensch believes in the word of the tzaddik, it's also mashpia to the tzaddik. That's what this is. that Louis Yitzur, that if it would have been that the Mensches believed in the words of Rebbi Nachman, it would have been mashpia towards him for his healing. It has to be thought about a little bit. Yes?
So if you go to a tzaddik and you don't have like so much faith that like what he says is true, and you're just going in with intentions like, oh, I don't know if I really believe in this stuff and all that, and then someone else goes in and is like, I fully believe this. Like that.
It could be two outcomes. Yes.
It could be, and he says the exact same thing to both. One person could be more effective than the other.
Yes. It's interesting, we even find this in halacha. That there's certain things like that are more Kabbalistic, that kind of like weave their way into Shulchan Aruch. You guys ever notice that? Like, don't leave food under your bed. You ever seen that one?
It's really camp.
Exactly. You open up your duffel, like, oh yeah. Don't leave food, even in a package, under your bed. Oh, but I put my Macallan 50 down there, like, clipped. So, there is such a thing that to the degree that you're holding in that, it affects you. This comes up in halacha. But there's such a thing, if you're sensitive to such a thing, ayin hara. To the degree that a person believes in a certain way, right? That's what the Spartam are so, and like, because they believe, there's such believers, ayin hara, ayin hara.
Isn't there a benefit not to believe that? You think yourself?
So, in a certain rational sense, you might say, yeah. Then there's also a level of that there's many secret layers of Torah, and many secret dimensions of Torah that Hashem did choose to reveal to us through the Kabbalah. And is a person allowed to say, I'm not gonna enter into those realms because I don't want to be affected. That's l'toiv u'lemutav. It can go both ways.
Is it even objective truth if it's not actually happening to you because you don't believe in it? Think you Diana, for example, if you're like, I don't believe it because it doesn't happen, and then doing so it doesn't happen, and like, is it evident for like them believing it?
When we're taught that these are realities, that the reality is happening on higher levels. So if somebody's privy to go to those higher levels, so now he's like in that world. So he's shaykh to it. By the way, there are ways to completely, even if you believe in it, go above it, and that's emunah. That's Einoid Milvada. That was David HaMelech. But David HaMelech wasn't affected, and he knew everything. He wasn't affected by anything. Because he just said, Hashem is protecting me. So there's a level where a person goes up, he believes, but his emunah is not strong. It's like a bell curve. It's like, you don't know anything, he's just ignorant, yeah, you'll be okay. Then there's a level of, you're going up, you're seeing things, but your emunah is not 100% solid yet. That's like a troublesome zone. Then there's a level where the emunah strengthens again and you're not affected. But you know everything. So I think that's why sometimes people are cautioned that you're going to enter into realms where your belief is not that strong. So like, better not talk about certain things with certain people. Because let's just build core emunah. Yod Gimel Ikarim of the Rambam. Core emunah. 315, not like we're making a plug or anything. So once a person has that core emunah, you're not affected. So there are certain realms like this. Now, by the way, the Mishnah Berurah brings down in Be'er Halacha that in Shemen we're going to be asked, like, so what did you learn down there? And he starts to elucidate some of the things they're going to ask. Okay, nu, Chumash, Bereshis Bar Lakim ad Leinek Kol Yisrael. Okay, moving on. Brachas. Nemes Aikar Nishma Ba'arvin. Okay, no, all the way to Uktzah. Okay, now what about Tosefta? What about Braisa? Okay, we're doing well. What about Zoyar? What about Maisa Merkava? What does the Merkava look like? He brings this. Chashmal. What about Maisa? What about Maisa Bereshis? And then he says, and there's others. All so, it's part of Shas. Like we have what to answer. We have what to answer. The Mishnah Berurah quotes the Zohar all the time. Look in Ayin Hey. It talks about Kriyat Shema and head coverings. We're learning about head coverings in morning's shir. So there's a lot to know. To say, I don't want to know, it's like ignorance is bliss. How do they say ignorance is bliss? We don't believe that. That's so not Jewish. We have to proceed intelligently, I would say. We have to proceed intelligently. Like real chacham. So I felt like I went to the tzaddik and I got an eitzah and it like calmed me down. So that's the lave, and then there's the lungs. And the lungs seem to be the kiyam aguf. So let's see back inside. Ki arei mekayemes halecha levana. The lungs are taking in moisture from the air and they're bringing it through the body. They're moistening the body. Mamsheches halachluches la'aguf. Through the breathing mechanism, it's cooling down the body. Ki aguf yesh lo tenua shehem miyabshin. Just the body moving is drying out the goof. Ki atenuas miyabshin. Just simply moving, it brings warmth to the body. And like we mentioned yesterday, if you could imagine such a thing of a body without lungs, I'm saying God forbid, let's say there was a deformity, besides all the other problems, but if you could imagine all those other problems would be dealt with, it's just a body without lungs. So even if you could imagine a body moving, at a certain point it would just dry out. It would not have the cooling mechanism. V'alkein, and therefore ikamakim ali de'areya shemamsheches lachluchis. Oh, v'kishehalev bitzara, but when my heart is in pain, she'az adamim oilim v'shoit v'nal alev, and then the dam is coming and it's pushing on the heart. Making stress on the heart, and the heart starts beating very fast. So now there's strong breathing that's happening to cool down the heart. Oh, now this is getting problematic now. Because the very thing that was supposed to cool down the body is now drying out. Which is what the tuberculosis was. That was Rebbi Nachman's problem. He was the drying out lungs. He was trying to blow and cool down the tsar of the world. So dafka he was affected with this. He was like the lungs of humanity. So he started drying out.
The lungs, like the wings.
Yeah, mamish. So he was drying out though. And that's a problem. That's why it says when a tzaddik leaves the world, like it's not pashut. Because where did our lungs go? It's like dangerous. Now it's really dangerous. And Chazal speak it this way, like when a tzaddik leaves the world, it's like it's a time of danger for the world. Lo aleinu, because everything is heating up. So we always have the tzaddikim that are just cooling everything down. Chas v'shalom. So now he adds something, which is, there needs to be something above the lungs then. The Shemen hu refuah lahareya. And now comes the Shemen. How do we fix the lungs? What's higher than the lungs? That's the Shemen. That's the oil. That's the oil of Chanukah, which is lahoidus and lahalel. So there's an eitzah above the lungs called the Shemen.
How?
So he says, on a basic physiological level, like everybody knows, ki Hashem melach leach, Because the oil moisturizes. When a person's drying up, they put on oil.
Women.
Why not men?
It
only works for men, for women.
No, it works for men.
Oil is a moisturizing agent. Yeah.
Is it referring to like anointing a king?
We'd have to expand on what it means oil in every sense. Here the Rebbe in Minei Bay doesn't mention the king, so I have to think about that. But here it's the oil that would moisturize the lungs, and that the lungs wouldn't dry out. I mean, somehow, even though the lungs are b'neshifas gedolos, that they're blowing a lot and they're drying out, they need an eitzah from the Shemen. So the tzaddik himself, who's the lungs, has to go up to Chanukah, has to go up to 8, has to go up to the Shemen, whatever the Shemen is. Now, in a simple way, I would say the Shemen is like the Rebbe began the whole Torah, which is Shemen is Chanukah, and Chanukah is Lahoidus, is saying thank you. So is the eitzah the thank you? From here, it looks like the eitzah's mamish saying thank you, while in the tzara. So earlier in the Torah we saw, and we began today like this, is that we give a toida k'sheyotzin me'atzara. When you go out of the tzara, you bring a toida, you say thank you. So there's a thank you that comes when you leave the tzara, right? After you come out of the plane ride, you say thank you. You say thank you, I came out of the tzara. Oh, get involved, Rabbi say. Once you come out of the tzara, you say thank you. But here we're saying that the shemen, which is the toida, is a toida while I'm in the tzara. It's a toida while I'm in the tzara mamish. I'm in it. And this seems to be the highest eitzah. While I'm in the tzara, I'm saying thank you. So we mentioned yesterday that Rav Moti was saying, I was driving, and I went off, and I missed the turn off, and my Waze added an extra 20 minutes, and then all these thoughts. Tzara, I'm late, irresponsible, what am I going to do? I should have been checking out the road. Oh. So is everything for a reason? Is that already b'chin of toida, of shemen? I'm in the tzara. Waze added 20 minutes, and I have other responsibilities, and I'm in tzara.
Maybe something could have happened on that 20-minute earlier route.
So, is that already toida? What would toida look like? So Ramoti said to me, he said, I started thinking, I have a car. Many people take a bus. I have a private car. Thank you, Hashem. I have friends that even invited me to their chasana. Some people don't have friends. There's people that like me, that are excited for me to come. Oh, Hashem, okay? It's great. Oh, wow, I'm in my car. I have friends. And he said to me, the last 4 months that we're learning this Torah, he said, I started to make my whole life this nekuda of the shemen, the eitzah of the shemen, that while the lungs are in the neshif, while the dam is shoitfen al alev, and the lev is overheating, and the neshifas gedolos of the lungs are overheating, and I understood that the eitzah of the shemen is that which is going to moisturize and bring the lachluchis and the moisture and the frischkeit and the freshness back into the body is through the shemen while you're in a tzara. He said, I made my whole life, these last 4 months, the eitzah of the shemen.
Yeah, but Rav, lungs is part of your body. You're going to have shemen moisturizing you.
It looks like you need something higher. There's a higher toida. There's a higher eitzah. That's like above the person.
Like what?
Is the toida? Is the toida? Shemen is Chanukah. Chanukah is toida. Is lahoid is lahala.
If the Shemen's a higher level, why is it? It's kind of the same type of question, but why is it only for 8 days? It shouldn't be now, or feeling down or something like that.
So I think yes. I think the inyan is that you don't make havdalah on Chanukah, so Chanukah doesn't end.
Yeah.
And this is the avoid of the Shemen. You're in an avoid of Chanukah. Chanukah is 8. Chanukah is above this world. We're in an avoid. Remember, the Chanukah was the last Chag. The last Chag. The tzaddikim speak a lot about that. You think it lasted 8 days? No, it was just 8 days till they got more Shemen. They had to press it, but it never went out. Those candles are still lit. Those candles are still lit mamish. It was just 8 days they got new Shemen, but the one that they lit, the Pach Echad Muna B'Choismai Shel Kohen Gadol, that Pach is still burning. That one is still burning. We spoke about this one Shalashudas, where that Pach of Shemen came from. That Shemen goes all the way back. That was very special Shemen. That was the Shemen that Yaakov Avinu had in his makel. He put it in the top of the makel. That was the Shemen that he put on the rocks. That was the Shemen that was passed down through all the Deiros. That was the Shemen that Yitzchak had, and Avram had that Shemen. That was the Shemen that Noach, when he was in the Teva, and he sent out the dove, and the dove came back with some olives, with an olive branch. He pressed that Shemen. That Shemen came from Eretz Yisrael. That was an Eretz Yisrael Dika Shemen. Because we have a tradition that there was not a flood in Eretz Yisrael. That was the Shemen. And it says that same Shemen, that Pach never ran out. It's like a Baba Sali Pach. That Pach never ran out. That's one of the Pshatim. Is that they started pouring. That why do we have Chanukah for 8 days? The Beis Yosef's Kasha. What do you mean? We had enough Shemen for the first day. It's only nice for 7 days. So we should have 7 days of Chanukah. No. The first day they started pouring out the bottle, and they looked at it. This is a Baba Sali bottle. Nothing even went out the first day. So even the first day was a nace. The first day was also a nace. So that Shemen, they say that Shemen is going to be the Shemen that we're going to anoint Mashiach with. From that same Pach. The Mashiach is going to be anointed with oil. The kings of Israel. Yeah. That is the Shemen that they would use for the kings. It's that Shemen. Yeah.
I don't know if this is related. I finished school yesterday.
Mazel tov.
At the end of the story, someone's going through a SAR because the whole of Israel is in a plague. And David brings an offering on Temple Mount during the SAR. And because he gave Torah,
what did he bring? He bring a Torah?
A Talmud offering. I don't know if that is different. But once he gave the offering, the plague stopped.
He gave an offering while in the Tzara.
Yeah. And David was anointed by Hashem.
David had the Shemen. Saying David had the Eitz of the Shemen. David had the Eitz of the Shemen that even while you're in the pain, you're already saying thank you. So there's a pain that comes, there's a Toida that comes after the Tzara, and then there's a Toida that comes while I'm in the pain. It looks like this is the highest. This is the highest Eitzah. Maybe you could say that it's the Shemen also because this is a very high thing. The Shemen's above the body. I think Josh, you just asked? The Shemen is above the body. Dan, you said the lungs are in the body. The Shemen is above the body. It's a high thing to be able to already say thank you while you're in the pain. I think what's happening, and Moti said this to me a little bit. He said, the toida that you bring, arbet tzrichen lahoidas, 4 people need to, that is when you come out of the pain. So that's a certain eitzah of, after I went through the pain, I see that everything had a reason, I see that it was all, because I'm out of the tsar. So I'm saying thank you, I appreciate. But the toida that you would bring while you're in the pain is almost saying that there was never a tzara to begin with. You think this is a tzara. I know you're in the tzara right now, but if you could say thank you while you're in the tzara, you realize it's not even a tzara. That's the eitz of the Shemen. It's not even a tzara. There was never a tzara. Ein ra yored min hashamayim. Kol man da ovid rachmana letav ovid. That there was never even a tzara to begin with.
That's not what your friend did, though. You didn't say that, it's good that I can subtract. You just be focusing on other things and said, in context, it's okay, look, I have so much blessing.
So, was that what he was doing in context? Or was saying, all of a sudden he stopped focusing on?
It doesn't exist.
What he said though is, all of a sudden, you realize, I'm trying to figure out what's happening. He was saying things, when you do this avoida, all of a sudden things start going back to normal functioning. Like the ways thing, miscalculate. You ever had your ways? And it's like, you think it's so precise, and then you actually do something, and it just like takes another 10 minutes off? Like, how could that be? Doesn't it know the algorithm perfectly? And he got there sooner. Another inyan that was happening, and things started to just resolve themselves.
We're going to see the actual, the time itself goes back?
Yes. Charlie.
We would probably say that like smoking's a negative to the lungs, like of the.
Cloud 9, today's 6 o'clock.
What do you think the negative is for the heart and for the oil? If there is such a thing.
He's saying, what's the klipa of each thing? You want to say like trans fatty, foods for the heart, and or the fatty oils, trans fatty oils for the shemen, and the heart. You have to work out the heart. I mean, the heart on the side of toiv is that it's here to give an eitzah. So you have to think about what the klipa of the heart is. Generally, we say the klipa of the heart. The heart is a warm mechanism. It warms a person up. It gives eitzahs that are warm, that are good. Go to the Chaim, he warms you up. But on the side of the klipa of the heart is, it can be warmed up about bad things. It's warmed up for taivas. So you'd have to think about that. And what would be bad shemen? Yeah.
So would we be able to make our lungs even better? Like
yes.
If we did
slow down, like using breath work.
Like did smoke and stuff, can we rejuvenate it?
For sure, there's definitely tshuva and rejuvenation and strengthening. There's such a thing of weak lungs, strong lungs. So the lungs are here to cool down. Meaning, if a person has good lungs, they're not going to dry up so quickly, right? Healthy lungs will be able to be minashevis, cool down. Let's say you've got big lungs. A big lung giving its cooling mechanism will be will not be overworked, because it could just go and it will cool down the heart. If a person's got like bad lungs, so this is an interesting point. A lot of people don't breathe fully. They don't take full breaths in. They breathe from basically this part of very shallow breathing. If they want to breathe from their diaphragm, what a person has to do is blow everything out. Essentially get rid. Usually when you do that, all the smoke's like, just blow all the air out, okay? On 3, we're just going to blow everything out. 1, 2, 3. Everything. And then, whoa, I didn't know how big my lungs were. So how many people breathe? You get a bit like a head rush, right? You're like, wow. Swimmers got great lungs. They got mamish that pumped up their lungs. So all of a sudden you realize your lungs, if you just utilize more of your lung cavity, you can cool down much more efficiently. But a person's breathing like that, hyperventilating, God forbid, or the anxiety breathing, a person with anxiety is not doing deep breathing. Believe it or not, when I was a kid, so I was a bit what they called lebedik. Okay? They called it hyperactive, I called it lebedik. I called it I had a lot of energy. That was my lashon. And all the doctors wanted to put all the Rosh Hashanahs by me, you know what I'm saying? And I said, I have a lot of energy. And my mother, so she was the one that really understood the healing. She said, just when you get lebedik, just breathe deeply. Let's breathe. She would sit me down, let's just breathe together. Because I get worked up. And she would just... And in a certain way, that was already the eitzah that would calm down my tzara. That would be able to... So the lungs, I'm just talking physiologically, not medical advice. I'm just trying to speak pshat here. To learn breathing. But there is such a thing, so that's just pshat in a certain way. Rebbi Nachman's explaining things that you could experience in your physiology. But if you're experiencing it in your physiology, it must be teaching you something in pneumius. That's what Rebbi Nachman does. He teaches you the way your body works, is teaching you about how all the worlds work, and teaching you how to get deeper into avodas Hashem. Everything is an eitzah. Right? Nebesari echse Eloika, like the Navi says. Eov says, from my flesh, I can see you, God. From the way my body works, I could learn a lot. So it's a very important thing for a person, if he really wants to be an Eved Hashem and a real Yid, don't put your body in someone else's care. Start, meaning if you need an expert, go to an expert. But start to be aware of how your body works. Start doing a body scan. What's going on with my body? Not if anything, I feel anything, I don't know what's going on over here, I'll just, let me ask somebody else. Wait a second. You can also figure a few things out. Get into your body. Become sensitive how the body works, the mechanisms of the body. So here the heart, there's a tsar. The dam goes to the lev. Shoit fin ala lev. The heart, defikas gedolos. We said when you're yotzim at tsara, then you bring a toida. Go back to the beginning of the Torah.
You could be your own doctor.
To some degree, yes. To some degree. So back in Ois Beis, right before Gimel, everyone have that spot? Ki loy dai sha'alev doig ba'atzmai, ki hu margish atzara yoyse mekulam, av gam adam shoit van alav, metzere me'oid, ve'al kein. And therefore, kasheyesh chas v'shalom tzar la'odam, ha'lev doifik b'defikas gedolos, the heart starts beating very, very fast. Ki hu mevakish l'nanei me'atzmai, the heart's trying to push the dam back to normal functioning. Ulahashlicha me'alav, that's interesting. The heart is trying to push the dam back. What it means, the Chacham doesn't want people knocking at his door? Go back to your homes. It's trying to have people, because the Chacham wants that people should be living their normal life. He doesn't... He understands that he's the lave. He understands that people will come knocking at his door or banging at his door for an eitzah. But he'd like that people are in their homes, happy with their wife and kids. So he's lahashlicha me'alav. He wants to bring people back to normal life, happy life. Va'al kein hu doifik b'defikas gedolos b'shas atzara chas v'shalom. So he's pumping a lot. And then ve'achar kach sheyotz me'atzara, when he goes out of the tzara, as I chayzrin taluchay sadamim. But here, only once you get out of the tzara, then what's called taluchos. Taluchos means the normal circulation resumes. Like we said, you found your wallet. So all of a sudden, the heart rate slows down, you're less clammy, normal circulation resumes. And you bring a toida. Because you bring a toida. We said toida is halacha, right? And halacha is the same word as talucha. Talucha means circulation. So here, at this part of the Torah, it looks like the toida, which is the halacha, is after the tzara. Whereas at the end of the Torah, we said that the toida is while you're in the tzara, that the toida is actually fixing the lungs. And I want the olam to really walk around with this and think about this. What is the eitzah of the heart? What's the eitzah of the lungs? And what's the eitzah of the shemen? The shemen, I think we spoke about. And it's the toida while you're in the tzara. Yeah, Isaac?
So what should you have? Should you think about it more during it? That it's a tzara, which is pretty difficult? Or are you supposed to think of it after? And also, this is like a very good technique in the moment when you're very upset or emotional about something. But a lot of the times, things can bother you again. Like every time you think about something, it comes back. So instead of just repeating this mechanism and these great tips, is there a way to do it and then an extra step to make it the last time you do it for that situation?
It looks like the highest eitzah. The eitzah is going to be while I'm in the tzara. While I'm in the tzara, because that will end it. That will clip it. Because if I'm in the tzara and I could realize that the tzara is not even a tzara. The tzara is something that is here to birth toida, then there's not even a tzara to begin with. Whereas the toida after the tzara, there we said, Chazal said, Arba tzrichen lahoidas. 4 people have to say thank you. When you got out of the tzara and you don't say thank you, you're not even a human being. You got out of such a tzara, you didn't even say thank you? It can't be. So Arba tzrichen lahoidas. I'm going to be Madaik and Chazal. You have to say thank you then. The higher level though is that the mechanism is lave and then reya. The reya, meaning it could get to a point that the reya doesn't overheat. The reya is just doing its job. So what is the reya? What's the eights of the reya? We talked about physiologically of working on your lung capacity, and me trying to, sit down and breathe and not get all, hyperactive. So that's a good eitzah. But what's that eitzah in panemius? I think we have the panemius eitzah of the lave and the panemius, or at least after. We have the eitzah of after the lave and the dam goes back to the talucha. And we have the eitzah of the shemen, which is for sure the penultimate eitzah. But what's the middle eitzahs? That we could stop it from ever needing shemen? Or could you say, as soon as the tzara begins, you're not even overwhelmed.
Or just control your thoughts. Don't worry. Think positively. And it won't come to your mind.
Gotta get off the bus.
Yeah, you gotta get off the bus.
It's go to when it's not.
So where would that eitzah show up here? Would that already be shemen? Rebbi has a thing where he says, we know that everything that happens for the best. So the way that he would say it over, he said, who would have thought that this would have been the best thing for me? Who would have thought? That's what it is. Who would have thought? So he said there was a time that he rented a car, and it was a big thing. He was going on a trip with his wife, and there was a whole thing with finances, and there was a certain struggle he was going through. He talks about this. And then he says he rented a car, a good car for the family, and then as he was turning out, and it was exactly when he was going through a certain challenging time, he was turning out of the Hertz parking lot, and there's these guardrails, and he made the turn too tight, and he heard that horrible sound, and and he turned the car and the whole side of the car hit the guardrail, and the entire side was. So the first thing he said is, "Who would have thought that this would have been the best thing that could happen to me? Who would have thought?" So that's already, I think, the eights of the Shemen. That somehow, thank you. Who would have thought that this would have been the best thing ever? And he got back, they had a wonderful trip and everything. His wife's like, interesting, they gave you a car like this. He's like, who would have? Who would have thought? So I think that's the eitzah of the Shemen. It's the eitzah of the Shemen. Now, Rebbi Nachman's about to go and take this to another step, and I want to understand this next step, because this next step is a very deep part of the Torah of understanding what happens when the lave comes out of the tzara. But is it when the lave comes out of the tzara, or is it the lave itself before the tzara doing something? So look what Rebbi Nachman says. So as soon as the dam goes back after the tzara, the alkein hatoida shehiba kasheyoytze me'atzara hu mechuna b'shem halacha. Okay, halacha because that's taluchas hadomim sheholchin kaseda kasheyoytze me'atzara. Gimel. This is now a new thing. We're going to talk about this today in Rav Nosson. Umizeh ba haylada b'nokel. And if we use this eitzah of toida, of halacha, something about the lave, because I don't know about the re'ah at this point in the Torah. If I can do this, if I can have toida and halacha, it allows for birth to happen easily. Women are able to give birth easily if they use this eitzah. Okay, what is the birth? What's the birth here? So, the taluch of the dam going back to normal functioning, because once the lave came out of the tzara, there's no more defikas kedolos. But what happened? The toida we said is afterwards. He's saying thank you. Arba tzrichen lahoidas afterwards, after you come out of the tzara, and after you come out of the tzara, hoida and toida and halacha, and that is the taluchas hadamim coming back. Through this eitzah, though, it helps you have birth naturally, easily. Okay, what's being birthed here? Yeah.
Chidushi.
So we'll see. It has to do with chidushay Torah and chidushay halacha, but isn't the chiddush afterwards? Where's the chiddush? Where's it happening? It's happening in the lave. It's happening afterwards. Meaning, I went through the tzara, and after the tzara, I had a chidushay Torah. He's going to explain the entire mechanism of what happens when a woman is about to give birth, what happens to her body, and then the baby coming out, and then what happens after the baby comes out. But the baby coming out happens before the blood goes back to normal. We're going to see that the mechanism here is almost like mineu bay. It's like within the tzara, he's going to describe in the next time we speak that only because the dam goes towards the womb and the dam is pushing on the womb, that the contractions can start, that will then allow the baby to come out. So the dam is pushing, is shoitfin al ha-womb, and then on the rechem, and then through that the baby comes out, and then the dam goes back. So here though, it's not something afterwards. It's like happening, it's like bon ka'achas. It's only because the dam is pushing, making a tsar on the womb that a baby can even come out. Meaning it would be dangerous if the baby is there and there's no pressure on the womb. How would the baby come out? So here, it almost sounds like the Shemen. It's like in the tzara is birthing something. But I thought that the toida is something which is afterwards. So we're trying to understand now. what is the eitz of the heart? What's the eitz of the lungs? What's the eitz of the shemen, which I think we spoke about, which is the toida while in the tzara? But is there something different from the shemen to now we're going to get into the birth? That when a baby is coming out, it's only because there's a tsar that the baby would come. It'd be dangerous. If there would be no dam, shoitfin, pushing, tsar, the baby couldn't get out. So is that like the shemen? Or is there a different eitz of leida which happens even before you get to the shemen? Yeah, Isaac?
So the idea of a struggle of a nisayon and saying thank you in it because you know it's from God, right? For example, with a chronic illness, which is completely out of your control, you can really turn to God for that. But for matters where you kind of shoot yourself in the foot, or you make a mistake and then you deal with the consequences of that, and it's very difficult. How do you say thank you for the tsar when you brought it upon yourself? There's no one to blame but yourself. It's kind of like a little bit depressing because...
Sin of the pachem, like a person who says, like, I got a cold, I went outside without a jacket. Yeah, that was you. So, when a person can realize that, I'm in tsar. Thank you, Hashem, for teaching me to be more responsible and put on jackets when I go outside. When Chazal say that there's certain things that you're bringing upon yourself, that's a very important teaching, is that I want to be more responsible. So what did we see today? We saw B'siyat D'Shmai, we saw the eitz of the shemen. We saw that there's an eitz of the lave, there's the lungs that are helping the lave, and then there's the eitz of the shemen. But then we went back to try to really understand the toida that happens after we come out of the tzara, and the toida that's happening while I'm in the tzara. Then we added a whole new layer here, which is going to be a universe. This is a very deep part, where we're going to speak about birth. That birth only is happening because there's tsar, because there's the dam that's pushing on the womb to allow the baby to come out, that itself is needed, like the tsar is needed to bring it out. So what is the eitzah? What is happening that allows the leida to happen b'nokel, that it happens easily, only through the tsar? So we're going to see, is there anything different between that and the shemen and the toida while I'm in the tsar? While I'm in the tsar, what is the difference of the toida while I'm in the tsar? And what's the difference between me needing the tsar to bring a birth? Is that a different type of toida? Of Hashem, I needed this. I needed this tsar to help something come out. Is that a difference between the shemen, which is ki'ilu, to say there's no tsar at all? Thank you for this. And we're going to go deeper into these eitzes that, like we began with, that Rebbi Nachman is giving us prescriptions that when you walk around life in this Torah, and any Torah, every Torah is its own universe, and you're moving, l'tayl b'Torah, so you're like going on a journey within the Torah, and you're going through something. Rebbi Nachman says, I want to guide you. I want to help you get through life in a successful way. We should be zocheh to mamish feel the eitzes and feel the guidance that Rebbi Nachman is here to give us. He gave this as a gift to move through this world, and ultimately, like we said, the toida is the shashua elam haba. That this is going to be the pleasures of the world to come. To the degree that I can have toida will be my eternal life. You should be zeicha mamish to live with the Torahs, to live with toida, to live with being thankful, to live with the eitzes of toida and halacha and the shashua elam haba. The siyat d'shma to be able to teach this. Little moed v'lamed lishmor v'lasois as kol divrei tsalmud Torah secha be'ava, to have a love for the Torah and have a simcha in the Torah. B'siyat d'shma, we're going to see once and for all the tikka b'shofar gadol. We're going to see the kibbutz galias, the binyan beis hamikdash b'mehera v'yameinu. Amen. Amen. Oh, Yahweh Hashem, Matov Yakeinu, Matayim Goraleh. Oh, Yahweh Hashem, Matov Yakeinu, Matayim Goraleh. la 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 la